Making infused oil is super simple and it's super satisfying when you use it in your own cooking or your own medicines or your beauty products. And I'm going to show you the old folk method for making cold infused oils with dried herbs. Now, first you will need your dried herbs. If you are picking these herbs out of your garden fresh, you need to make sure that they are completely dry. This can take a couple of days up to a couple of weeks, depending on your drying method. But that's a topic for another video. If you want to see that video when it comes out, make sure you subscribe. Then you will need to crush these herbs. I like to store mine whole because when you crush them, it releases a lot of the flavors and the nutrients and makes a lot more of the plant available to the oil, so it can really access all of those nutrients and flavors, aromatics, all of that. So it's really good to crush them up right before you use them. Now you'll see some little sticks and stems that maybe didn't crush up very well. You can leave those in or take those out. It's a little easier to strain it without them, but some people like to leave them in because the oil still draws nutrients out of those sticks and stems. So that's totally up to you. Then you put those crushed herbs into a jar and fill it up about halfway to about 3/4 of a way full. Then you're going to cover it completely with a carrier oil. You want to leave about 1 to 2 inches of oil above the herbs. And I like to use a chopstick or a spoon or something to really make sure that the oil gets down in there. And you want to make sure that you're getting rid of all of those air bubbles, okay? You don't want any chance of bacteria. And making sure that you have very dry herbs and that they are completely covered in oil is going to help with that. So stir it until the oil is touching pretty much every part of every little crushed up herb, and then cover it with a lid, okay? And you want to seal this tightly because you're going to be shaking it. And shaking it is going to remove the air bubbles, but it's also going to help the oil access all sides of all of the herbs. Then you want to label it. I like to use a little chalk marker and just label the top with the date and what's in it. Then you shake it and store it in a cool, dark place for 4 to 6 weeks. You'll notice that the herbs will settle to the bottom and the oil will settle to the top. So every day you'll want to shake it. And to also check for spoilage. If it's cloudy or if it's bubbly or if it smells bad, you're probably going to want to start over. At the end of those 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to want to strain it through the cheesecloth and squeeze the oil out. Now, I couldn't find my cheesecloth, so I used a strainer and I used a flour sack tea towel, which works really just as well. And make sure you have clean hands when you do this so that you can really squeeze out all that oily goodness that you have worked so hard for the last month to a month and a half to get. Then it's time to store it. I like to use amber bottles because they tend to protect the potency of the oil. They're also really cute if you're going to give them as gifts. And of course, I really like how they look in my little apothecary. So I'll put links down in the description for the little bottles that I like to use. Now, generally the shelf life is about 1 year. Sometimes you can get it a lot longer than that, but as a general rule of thumb, try to use it within a year. You can use this oil all by itself, or you can use it in your own homemade salves and balms. I've got a video right here for you if you want to learn how to do that. There are also 4 different ways to make infused oil. This is only one of 4. So if you want to see those other 3, subscribe so you don't miss those videos. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.